Hello badminton fans and welcome to this members only video of the Yonex Astrox 100ZX badminton racket review. Now you've got all the information on the E-Zone page, so definitely look at the smash JPEG. Always very interesting to see how much repulsion is available from the racket, how well the shaft is actually flexing. Just looking at some of the stats here, I think some of the interesting ones to look at would be the swing weight of the racket is 91 grams. So although this is a 4U racket weighing in, I think 86 grams, it actually is, it feels that much heavier. And even now in my wrist, I can feel that sort of head weight. BP 320 on our test, that's with the strings. Just as a racket, you see it here, but put in a very simple test at 320, that's quite significantly towards the head. All stuff to bear in mind. The Yonex Astrox range generally is head heavy. I think we would have put this on the E-Zone page, but it's a 28 pounds string tension. Racket costs about 120 pounds, is available worldwide. Right, performance of this racket, which is what you're here and why you're here to watch. Now the overhead action, I'm just going through my notes as I talk. The overhead action with the Astrox 100ZX is okay, but I did feel like, so when I'm clearing, we all got our own way of doing things, okay, in badminton. There is a set technique you're supposed to follow, but we slowly over time, we mold how we do stuff. So as I'm clearing, I generally I would like to try to keep this kind of motion. I don't like to be in a sideward stance and be pushing through every single time on the clears unless I'm looking to move forward straight after the shot. So yes, I'm a little bit lazy. I like to just punch and get clears. And generally I do get a reasonably good clear from most of the rackets that I use, just using that motion. And it's also very handy for deception. So the 100ZX, I could not do that. I couldn't just flick the wrist and a little bit of forearm strength and get it clear. I did have to end up finding myself almost having to really work through the clear to get to the back court, which is really, really irritating, especially if you are considering this for a singles game. Already you know the answer is going to be no at the end of this video for singles. Smash power is actually really quite reasonable, and the other thing that really impressed me about this is it actually doesn't take that much effort, or it's not that hard compared to the Astrox 99, which I felt like was, oh god, why did they create this racket? It's so hard to get any real power out of it on a rig, especially if you're in a game where you're doing 6-7 smashes per rally to get through to the opponent. You know, it's not always easy if you've got a good match on. It's a lot of rallies going on, a lot of smashes going on. You know, some rackets are going to tire your shoulder out, your elbow out, and physically tire you out. With this racket, I actually felt it wasn't too much strain. You could actually get a good smash off the racket and not feel overly strained, and get a reasonably good smash on a reasonably regular basis. Now the racket does have very good airspeed. I would say it feels like it's fairly fast in the air. It feels medium in weight, and it feels medium in stiffness when you're using the racket. It doesn't feel overly heavy. You definitely feel where the weight is of the racket. You can feel that head bearing weight, but defensively speaking, it was okay. It was just okay. And what I find is, even though it felt medium stiff to use, what I find is when certain rackets don't get enough movement, so you know, when you're in a defensive scenario, you don't have much swing by the time the shuttle has hit the rackets hit the shuttle. Some rackets just don't produce the kind of repulsion you want. On the defensive side, I just didn't think it was that amazing. There's just too many better rackets out there at this price point defensively. In terms of its drive capability, it has got brilliant drive capability. You do feel like it's really solid, it's very sturdy, it has enough airspeed to make sure you're behind the shuttle when you're engaging in the drives. Overall very satisfying, and certainly give you the confidence to move forward with it. So in terms of control, it was not bad, you know, not bad. It took a bit longer for me when I was testing, it took me a little bit longer to get used to the exact range from the back. You know, make sure you're not over hitting the shuttle, make sure you're not under hitting. It just took a bit longer than I'd like it to at this level of racket. You know, you normally after the amount of rackets that we've gone through and tested, it doesn't take us long to engage with the racket and understand its sweet points and so on and so forth. But with this one, it just did take a little bit longer than I'd for it to have taken. So where does this leave us? I do think the ZX is easier to use than the ZZ, although many people have told me the ZZ is not that hard. In our test of it, it wasn't amazingly easy to use, and it didn't produce any fabulous. Even all the players that I play with or against in matches or otherwise in club, I don't look at them and I think, wow, what racket is that? Your smash is so big. You seem like you're effortlessly clearing. Your control is so cool. I'm not seeing that really. So the ZZ, I don't feel regretful. We've got a lot of criticism about the ZZ review, a lot of criticism about the A99 review from Yonex, but you know, I don't feel regretful because when I've seen people with them, they don't come across to me like they're playing with an international racket or there's anything special about the shots they're playing. So the Astrox 100ZX is a unique racket in as much as it does feel fairly quick in the air. It doesn't feel overly hard to use. It is usable for club players and county players, district players. I would say that if you want a racket that's easy to use, this is not the racket to pick up. If you want a racket that flexes quite a lot, this is not the racket to pick up. If you don't want a racket that's fairly head biased, this is not the racket for you. This is also not, thumbs down on the singles. I don't think it will work for singles. Doubles players, you could seriously consider this racket. So thumbs up for doubles. Intermediate, strong intermediate, above only. I would not bother if you were a beginner with this racket. I think it's just an overspend if you're a beginner. £120. There's a lot of rackets you can get that are head heavy, slightly more flex in the shaft, which are going to work better for you. So for the doubles players, I think you could consider this racket if you're really insistent you want a doubles Yonex racket. Must be Yonex. I only want Yonex. I love Yonex, and there's a why not. They do create brilliant products. No one's criticizing the quality or research that goes into Yonex products. They are brilliant. This actually isn't too bad. It produces a reasonably good smash. It's okay on the control. The defense could be better, but it has a reasonably good drive and it doesn't feel that taxing to use. That doesn't mean to say by any means it's the best doubles racket for £120, not even close. I prefer the Mizuno JPX Blitz to this for doubles. That's a heavy feeling racket. I prefer the Kawasaki Honor S9. I prefer the J-Nice Black Panthers. I prefer the Mizuno Altius that we've recently tested. Yeah, there's a whole, you know, if you want to go higher in price, you've got the Li-Ning Aeronaut 9000i, you've got the Mizuno 40S10 Power. There's a lot of rackets out there that I probably prefer over this racket, above and below this price point. So it wouldn't be on my list to use because at £120, that's a big marketplace available, and the racket is good. For a Yonex professional racket, it's approachable, and that is a big tick for Yonex, to make it approachable for everyday club players and actually be able to make them, allow them to play with it. But it's not wow or really amazing. This is a racket for people who must have Yonex, because for them, if you haven't got Yonex, you haven't got a good racket. I get that. I've come across that a lot now over the last sort of decade that we've been working with Badminton Racket Review. So I get that, and that's okay. You know, we've come to accept that Yonex have done a fabulous job in marketing themselves and produce fabulous products, and therefore deserve all of the market. The majority, they deserve to have the majority of the market because they have done such good work. But the racket, like for like, is not the best at £120. But if you're a Yonex fan, as I've already said, go for it for doubles. Everything else, just forget about it. It's not going to work for singles, and I don't think it would work if you were a mixed player working the rear court in traditional mix, where the lady stays at the front and the man is at the back. If you're playing levels, again, it's doubles, then it's fine. So I hope that helps. Do keep leaving reviews on the E-Zone. Do keep sharing. Do keep telling your club about us. Tell the world that we exist. We are trying to help the badminton community as much as we can. Tell us if there's anything you'd like to add to our website that will help you guys out a little bit more. The E-Zone, as you know, is free. You're here, you're watching this video, you already know that. Spread the word. Donate if you feel kind enough to do so. Everything helps us to buy these rackets, pay for the testing facilities, get everything we need done for these reviews to continue. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you on the next one.